Hey people, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. Thank you for joining me today. This is episode number 57 of Hockey on the Spot. 9 games last night in the preseason. The preseason is almost over, only 2 days left, including today. So, with that being said, let's waste no more time. Let's get into it. 9 games plus quite a few updates, particularly revolving around the Florida Panthers. So let's get going, shall we? Starting with the Buffalo Sabres and the Carolina Hurricanes. Big win on home ice for the Carolina Hurricanes. 1-0 the final score, so a good game for both teams, but a shutout effort for Carolina. Their only goal of the game coming from Patrick Dwyer, who scored a short-handed goal assisted by Jordan Staal and Ron Hainsey, the newcomer and the replacement for Yoni Pitkinen this year. So that's good for him getting an assist. And for Cam Ward, an 18-save shutout, which was great for him. Congratulations to him. And Ryan Miller wasn't that bad either. Even though they did not get the win and did not score, Ryan Miller was excellent. He made 29 saves on 30 shots, a .967 save percentage. So Ryan Miller, very solid and a great effort by the Buffalo Sabres. But the Carolina Hurricanes were indeed the better team last night. So congratulations to them. Next we have the Nashville Predators and the New York Islanders. The Islanders have not played in a while, playing their only preseason game at the Nassau Coliseum last night and winning by a big effort. Final score 6-4. New York Islander goals being scored by John Tavares, assisted by Travis Hamonic, followed by John Tavares again. He had a 2-goal performance, assisted by Matt Moulson and Travis Hamonic. Then Lubomir Visnovsky would score on the power play, assisted by Matt Moulson and Colin McDonald. Then Colin McDonald would get himself a goal, assisted by Brock Nelson and Franz Nielsen. Then Matt Donovan, a young offensive defenseman trying to make the team this year, would score, assisted by Brock Nelson and Matt Moulson. And then last but not least, Josh Bailey would score, assisted by Travis Hamonic and Andrew McDonald. So a big night for the New York Islanders. A 3-assist performance for the likes of Travis Hamonic and Matt Moulson. A 2-goal performance for John Tavares. So just a great night all around for the New York Islanders. And Evgeny Nabokov wasn't half bad either. 23 saves on 27 shots, an .852 save percentage. Again, their only preseason game at the Nassau Coliseum this year. They will be one of the final teams playing on the final day of the preseason in that split squad game against the Ottawa Senators. Meanwhile, the Nashville Predators wouldn't go down very easy, though. They did tie the game at 1 in the first on a goal by Craig Smith, assisted by Gabriel Bourque and David Legwand. And then after the New York Islanders made it 6-1, the Nashville Predators went on a 3-goal flurry, starting with a goal by Simon Moser, assisted by Ryan Ellis and Nick Spaulding. Simon Moser's been very good in training camp. He was signed to a pro tryout contract. He's been a big surprise and has a very good chance of making this Nashville team this year because of the way he has played. Then Craig Smith would score, assisted by Victor Bartley and Gabriel Bourque, and Roman Josi would top it all off, assisted by Rich Clune and Matt Hendricks. So the Nashville Predators made a strong effort to come back, but it was not enough. Pekka Rinne played the majority of the game, making 19 saves on 24 shots, a .792 save percentage. So not a good night for Pekka Rinne, as I believe he was expected to play the entire game. In the third period, it would be Carter Hutton who would take his place, making 8 saves on 9 shots, an .889 save percentage. So he did play better and got Nashville back in it, but it was not enough. So congratulations to the New York Islanders. Next, we have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals in Washington. A big win for the Caps, who who did lose Mikhail Grabovski, who almost lost Mikhail Grabovski last night. He did somewhat suffer an injury, but luckily managed to come back and play the rest of the game. So that's good news because of how good he has been in the preseason, including last night, getting an assist. But anyway, Washington goals. Both Eric Fair and Alex Ovechkin would lead the way with 2-goal performances, but Eric Fair got the #1 star because of also getting an assist. Eric Fair's first goal would be assisted by Dane Byers. Then Alex Ovechkin's first goal would come on the power play, assisted by Connor Carrick and Matthew Perreault. Then Tom Wilson, a guy who is most definitely going to be making the team this year, would score, assisted by Mikhail Grabovski and Jason Chimera. Then after that, Philly came back to tie the game, and then Washington went on a flurry in the third period, starting with Eric Fair's second goal of the game, assisted by Connor Carrick and Matthew Perreault. Then Alex Ovechkin would get his second power play goal of the game, assisted by Eric Fair and Connor Carrick. A 3-assist performance for Connor Carrick. And then to top it all off, with under a minute to go, Matthew Perreault would score an empty netter unassisted. And Michael Neuvirth would start the entire game, making 32 saves on 35 shots, a .914 save percentage. So he was pretty good. But of course, when the Caps took a 3-0 lead, the Flyers came back to tie. Starting with Claude Giroux, assisted by Matt Reed. Then Scott Hartnell on the power play, assisted by Sean Couturier and Kimmo Timonen. And then finally, Wayne Simmons, assisted by Vinny Lecavalier and Braden Shen. Ray Emery would start the entire game, making 23 saves on 28 shots, an .821 save percentage. So not a good night for the Philadelphia Flyers. And a very physical night, too. Lots of penalty minutes in the game. Steve Oleksy would take the most, 17 minutes, most on the Caps and most on either team. However, that did not matter because the Flyers took way more. Both Wayne Simmons and Zach Rinaldo led the team with 15 penalty minutes, and Adam Hall had 10. So, very, very rough night out there. And Scott Hartnell also had 7. So, very rough night out there. But again, a big win for the Washington Capitals. Next, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings. In Detroit, a big night for the Red Wings, as they win by a final score of 5-2. Detroit goals being scored by Joachim Anderson, assisted by Xavier Ouellet and Todd Bertuzzi. Then Luke Glendening, assisted by Kyle Quincy and Michael Samuelson. Then the next 3 Detroit goals would all come on the power play. Henrik Zetterberg would be started off, assisted by Johan Franzen and Pavel Datsyuk. Then Daniel Alfredsson, the newcomer from the Ottawa Senators, would score on the power play, assisted by Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk. And then Johan Franzen would finish it off, assisted by Nicholas Kronwall and Daniel Alfredsson. The Swedes getting it done. Jimmy Howard would start the entire game, making 17 saves on 19 shots, an .895 save percentage. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, they tied the game twice, starting with a power play goal by Nazem Kadri, assisted by Mason Raymond and Jake Gardiner. And then Joffrey Lupul would score, assisted by Nikolai Kulemin and Jake Gardiner. So a 2-assist performance for Jake Gardiner. Jonathan Bernier would start the entire game, making 32 saves on 37 shots, an .865 save percentage, compared to Jimmy Howard's .895 save percentage. So, congrats to the Detroit Red Wings on a big win. Next, we have the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, a game that was played in Oklahoma City, the home of the American Hockey League affiliates of the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton would be considered the home team. So therefore, we will not have the assists or the goalie statistics for this game. Just the goals and the goalies who played. Dallas would win by a final score of 4-0. Austin Smith, Luke Gazdick, Vern Fiddler, and Byron Ritchie would be doing all the scoring for the Dallas Stars. Dan Ellis would start the entire game for the Stars, and Devin Dubnyk would start for the Edmonton Oilers. So congrats to the Dallas Stars. Next, we have the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. Big win by the St. Louis Blues, who did trail the game 1-0, but went on a third period frenzy, scoring 4 goals in the third. Starting with TJ Oshie, assisted by Alexander Steen. Then Patrick Berglund, assisted by Alex Pietrangelo and Jaden Schwartz. Then David Backes, assisted by Jay Bomeister and Alex Pietrangelo. And then Chris Stewart would top it all off on the power play, assisted by Derek Roy and Jordan Leopold. Yaroslav Halak would start the entire game, making 18 saves on 19 shots, a .947 save percentage. But prior to that 4-goal flurry in the third period, in the first period, the Wild would take a 1-0 lead on a power play goal by Jared Spurgeon, assisted by Zach Parise and Mikko Koivu. They got a split in goal. Yes, they got the split in goal. Josh Harding would play the majority of the game, and he was fantastic, making a perfect 15 saves on 15 shots. However, when Johan Gustafsson came into the game in the third period, that's where everything went wrong. He only made 7 saves on just 11 shots, a .636 save percentage. So a night where if the Harding had played the entire game, they might have gotten the shutout. But that did not happen. Instead, it would be the St. Louis Blues coming out on top on a huge home win by a final score of 4-1. Next, we have the Winnipeg Jets and the Boston Bruins. They both played in Saskatoon, home of the Saskatoon Blades. So the Boston Bruins, for some odd reason, would be considered the home team and would use it to their advantage, winning by a final score of 5-0. Once again, only the goals. All Boston goals being scored by Carl Soderberg, Johnny Boychuk, Jordan Caron, Nick Johnson, and Patrice Bergeron. Tuukka Rask would get the full start in goal for the Boston Bruins, and Al Montoya would get the full start for the Winnipeg Jets. So congrats to the Boston Bruins. Next, we have the San Jose Sharks and the Phoenix Coyotes. In Phoenix, big win at home for the Desert Dogs by a final score of 2-1. Phoenix goals being scored by Radim Vrbata, assisted by David Rundblad. And then on the power play, Oliver Ekman-Larsson would score the game winner, assisted by David Rundblad and Mike Ribeiro. Thomas Greiss would play the entire game against his former team, making 25 saves on 26 shots, a .962 save percentage, and was the game's second star. A night that he definitely will remember for a long time, even though it is only preseason. And for the San Jose Sharks, the only one to beat the former Shark would be veteran prospect Bracken Kearns, assisted by James Shepard. Bracken Kearns, still technically a prospect, but is now 32 to 33 years of age. Alex Stalock would play the entire game for San Jose, making 24 saves on 26 shots, a .923 save percentage. So congrats on a big win by the Phoenix Coyotes. And last but not least, we have the New York Rangers and the Los Angeles Kings. This was the big game of last night's preseason action. The game to watch in Las Vegas, Nevada. A rematch from 22 years ago in 1991. Unfortunately, the same outcome Unfortunately, as far as the New York Rangers are concerned, it would be the same outcome. The Los Angeles Kings would come out on top on a huge win to cap off a miserable preseason for the New York Rangers, in which they go 1-5-0. Los Angeles goals being scored by Anze Kopitar, then Jeff Carter on the power play, then Mike Richards on the power play, and then Trevor Lewis to cap it all off. And for the New York Rangers, JT Miller would be the only one scoring for them. Henrik Lundqvist would start the entire game for the New York Rangers, though he was not expected to. It was originally going to be Marty Biron starting last night, but because of how poorly he played against the Vancouver Canucks and not getting the entire start there, Lundqvist decided to play another game. Jonathan Quick would start the entire game for the Los Angeles Kings, who used almost their entire roster last night, with the exception of Dustin Brown, their captain. The LA Kings will cap off their preseason tonight in their second straight game in Las Vegas against the Colorado Avalanche. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Kings. And now, to cap off our video, a few updates. It looks very close to confirm that Thomas Vokoun's career could be over because of his blood clots. He almost died over the weekend, so our condolences to Thomas Vokoun. Also, the St. Louis Blues have released Ryan Whitney from his professional tryout, and the Minnesota Wild have released David Steckel from his professional tryout. Too bad for them. Unfortunately, they will not be part of the team this year. Also, some big rumors revolving around the Philadelphia Flyers and defenseman Andre Meszaros as they look to be trading the defenseman to a team in need of defense. It is believed that they are talking to the Colorado Avalanche, and the Avs are offering up left winger / center John Mitchell as trade bait. John Mitchell had a very good season last year for a Colorado Avalanche team that did not play well. Also, and last but not least, all that news revolving around the Florida Panthers I mentioned, they have officially signed both forward Brad Boyes and defenseman Tom Gilbert, respectively, to 1-year, $1 million contracts, as they both played very well on their professional tryouts. In addition, they also made a trade with the New Jersey Devils, acquiring forward Chris Barch and a 2015 7th-round pick in exchange for forward Scott Timmins and a 2014 6th-round pick. Chris Barch is no stranger to the Florida Panthers. That is where he came to the New Jersey Devils from. So for Chris Barch, this will be his second stint as a Florida Panther and should add nicely as an enforcer to their team now with the loss of George Parros. And Scott Timmins for the New Jersey Devils, he'll be a good prospect in their system and a good depth player. And that is it for that. That'll do it for episode 57 of Hockey on the Spot. Join me again tomorrow when we talk about more preseason action as the preseason comes to the end. With that being said, this has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. See you guys again tomorrow. Thank you and have a great day.